Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, this is Kevin from Personal Tutor, bringing to you a sonnet by William Shakespeare that is not marble nor the gilded monuments. Out of 154 sonnets written by the famous William Shakespeare, this is the 55th sonnet that still is recollected as the word says. It shall not be affected by the passing time, the rains, the winds, or anything else. Yes, my friends, still after 400 years, we are remembering this poem by William Shakespeare. It's about a journey of a love song towards a partner where William Shakespeare claims that no wind, no war, no thrash, calamity, anything, even God Mars couldn't go ahead and sway his sword and let the sonnet be forgotten. Since, like the legends go on, the stories go on, this sonnet shall be remembered till the eternity. And that's where William Shakespeare embellishes his ambition and emancipates this sonnet by saying to the partner that you shall be remembered by this beautiful sonnet. We'll have a line by line brief for this, thus handling it all. Not marble nor the gilded monuments of princes shall outlive this powerful rhyme. Not marble, that means the great Greek and Roman monuments made by kings and the queens, so that the people may remember them, or the gilded monuments, that is the gold sheathed monuments, would be going ahead and looking forward to have the memory forsaken, shall be outtaken by this sonnet that I'm writing for you. But you shall shine more bright in these contents than unswept stone besmeared with sluttish time. And you shall shine in these contents that I'm letting people know about you, and you shall go ahead and shine yourself out. You shall outshine the people who have been remembered and revered. You shall all outshine them, and even the sluttish time. My friends, the sluttish word here used is for the ill-natured, something that causes something bad, a precisely forsaken lore is sluttish. So thus Shakespeare informs that this is the sluttish time that tarnishes the memories of every person present on the earth, but through literature people would remember the person about whom he's writing the sonnet. And yes, it's true, it's been 400 years now and counting. This sonnet was written and still we are reading it. Isn't it emancipating enough? When wasteful war shall statues overturn and broil root out the work of masonry. It usually happens that people and king in the ancient times got humongous, gigantic, titanic statues built up of their own. They went ahead and did so as to let the generations coming ahead know about the posterity, know about the authenticity and the wideness and extent of the person's empire, the name and the strength as well. And broiling out shall the roots. Usually when castles and monuments are built, centuries later, you can find roots of trees crawling out through the wall, my friends. That's what Shakespeare is explaining. That would be called a failure of the masonry. My friends, William Shakespeare was one of the wisest and the best playwright, an actor, a poet that the English literature ever had. William Shakespeare died at the age of rich 49, Yet he is remembered by his famous plays Macbeth, Othello, Romeo and Juliet, King Lear, and so on. There are numerous works done by him that are still known as to be the base of English literature, my friend. No matter people got anything, many stories about William Shakespeare, yet, my friends, to be very true, he was the person who played an important role in bringing English as a part of literature to the present society. The next lines he explains is the living record, nor Mars his sword, nor war's quick fire shall burn, nor living record of the living record of your memory. William Shakespeare even challenges the god of war, that is Mars, and his sword, that even if Mars comes and destroys this living proof of your memory, it won't be forgotten by people because it would be read for the centuries to come. William Shakespeare believed that literature is an art, a science that can be remembered for centuries and eons, my friends. That's what was his belief in the English language. Gaste, death, and all oblivious enmity shall you pace forth, your praise shall still find room. No matter what happens, how many deaths people live, how many enmity you have, you shall outlive all of them and be revered and remembered till the eternity. That's where this world out to the ending doom. So till the judgment that yourself arise, you live in this and dwell in lovers' eyes. Beautifully written, my friends. I simply love some lines of the sonnets while explaining to you. We at Personal Tutors keep on giving out efforts. Thus, it shows the beauty of the language and our dedication for you people out there. We would definitely solicit a few comments of yours on this. Now, the last lines here are, so till the judgment that yourself arise. Some biblical matter involved over here. William Shakespeare believed in Christianity, and according to the Christianity, there's a day of judgment to come where Lord Jesus Christ would be arriving on his chariot and horses and angels, and he would be taking the believers along with him to the heaven. Thus, William Shakespeare explains it to, so till the judgment that yourself arrive. That means till the day of the judgment that you shall arrive, you shall be revered and live and dwell in the lover's eyes. Now, here he clearly exclaims that whoever reads this literature, whoever reads this sonnet, shall remember you forever and ever as we do it today, my friends. Let's have a look at a few question and answers that we do have over here. To give you a revelation, my friends, this here concludes the last chapter of mine from the book of 10th, that is the literature reader. So thus completing the series of ours at Home Tutors, we would be going ahead and giving out the whole data to you as well. You can just go ahead and request us. I have just gone ahead and completed the 10th class English literature book. If you have any comments, do answer below. Let's have a look at a few question and answers. I would suggest you to go ahead and have a more view at the remaining sonnets written by William Shakespeare and the play. It would really go ahead and help you out in improving the command over the language, my friends. That's what is important nowadays. We need to work up ahead and think about the clarity. Now, what are the other symbols associated with time? The symbols associated with time are the day, the night, the sun, and various other things. Now, what are the things that last for centuries? This can be answered for your own, my friends, but yes, I would go ahead and help you out in that. things that would last for centuries. The first thing that we studied right now is the literature. The literature would last for centuries to come, my friends. Apart from that, there are huge, humongous monuments, although battered, humongous statues, the seven wonders of the world. These are the things that would last for the centuries as well. Now, the next question is, think of the things that will perish and be forgotten within the passage of time. The best reply here would be we, ourselves. Being human is mortal. We would be perished in the arms of death a day come. Hence, we shall be forgotten. The landscapes, the nature, the humongous monuments, they shall remain for a few centuries, but later on it would be forgotten as well. The words that we speak shall be forgotten, but the literature that has been written shall never be forgotten, my friends, as said by the famous William Shakespeare over here. In the line, the living record of your memory, the living record refers to the sonnet that the poet has written in the reference to the friend. The poet's tone in the poem is, of course, the poet's tone is loving. The poem is set in the poet's study, where he's sitting down and writing a sonnet thinking about his friend. Describe how the monuments and statues brave the ravages of time. Once built, the monuments and statues possess a quality of battering around the rains, the wars, the wind, the sand, thus getting tarnished by blemishes of time, yet they show a brevity where actually they remain unaffected by the passage of time, as we can say there. Thus the poet clearly exclaims that that is the braveness that the monuments and the statues possess in spite of facing the time. Why do you think the rich and powerful people get monuments and statues erected in their memory? It has been a legacy of Greek and Romans to have monuments built up in their names, to have statues erected of themselves, so that the other generations that would be coming would know the essence and the expanse of the wisdom and the kingdom and the strength and the virility of the people in whose name the monuments and the statues were built. Why does the poet refer to time as being sluttish? Time. It can be a biggest healer, it can be a biggest demon as well, my friends. Here the poet reflects that as time passes, it tarnishes the conditions of titanic monuments, humongous statues, and everything that had been gilded by golds or famous work of masonries. As time passes, the battering of the sun, the rain, the dust, the mud, and the sand gets the monuments started. Thus, it really reflects that time has got an image of tarnishing one's image, giving out something bad, and yes, it really idolizes a sinister move as well, my friends. The poet says that neither forces of nature nor wars can destroy his poetry. In fact, even godly powers of Mars will not have a devastating effect on his rhyme. What quality of the poet is revealed through these lines? Now we are talking about William Shakespeare, a person revered to be the god of literature, actually informed as England's national poet. He comments and claims that the brevity and the depth of his literature actually emancipates his strength of literature, and he is looking forward to let people know that no matter what happens in future, may the god of war, the Mars, come down on earth. His work shall not be lost. His literature once written shall be remembered for centuries and centuries to go ahead and be remembered by people. Now, identify Shakespeare use of personification in this poem. The line used by Shakespeare is the living record of your memory. That means the sonnet that here he has written is actually going to be remembered and heard and read by people in the centuries to come, thus creating a scene of this sonnet being alive and revered by the generations that he may not refer to. Thus, he says that the memory of the friend about whom the sonnet is written shall be a living record for the generations to come. So this was a brief about one of the great sonnets written by William Shakespeare. We had a few question and answers explained as well. If you have some information or questions, you can just comment below. We would be glad to go ahead and answer them. If you want to know something about Personal Tutor, just click the button about us. I would request you to go ahead and subscribe for further details as well. You can get the data online. You can get it in pen drive as well. So thanking you very much today. This is Kevin.